ScotCPS Bite 7 Bodily Weapons. Hi, it's Alan here again from the Scottish Centre for Personal Safety. Last time we told you about defensive stance and voice control. In this video, we're going to tell you about bodily weapons. But before I do that, let me introduce you to Bob. Bob stands for Body Opponent Bag, B-O-B, Bob. And we use them to demonstrate strikes and hits that we wouldn't want to experience ourselves, even when we've got padding on. So what are bodily weapons? Well, they're weapons that you've got in your body all the time. Your hands, your feet, your knees, etc. In this video, I'm going to go over some of the techniques that you might want to use. So for instance, we'll start with the hands. What can you do with them? Most people will tell you fists. It's an instinctive reaction to make fists. The problem with that is it looks quite aggressive, as we discovered in some of the previous videos. So if you're standing like this, ready to defend yourself, it doesn't look defensive, it looks aggressive. And the bones can break. That's all been discussed in previous videos. So what's the best thing to use them for? Open palms, that's just get back. That looks quite defensive. And we use a palm strike. A palm strike is hitting with a soft part of your hand, and it's going to strike in towards the face area usually. So palm strike's really good. What else can you use? You could keep your hand completely flat, and if the neck area is available, strike in almost like a karate chop in towards the neck area. That's quite good, but it is limited to just kind of the neck area. There's nowhere else you can do it for. One of my favourites is, if you made a fist anyway, is instead of punching with the knuckles and these bones here, you're going to strike down the way, almost like a hammer, as if you're holding a hammer. This is called a hammer fist. So you're not hitting with the bones, you're hitting with the soft part of your hand, and it's striking there. So what it would look like, it can go diagonally like this, it can go straight down, it could hit into the stomach area, throat area. If the person bends his head down, it can hit into the back of the head. It's a really effective way, but it doesn't cause you any damage. It causes them a lot more damage. So what else can you use apart from your hands? Moving along, your elbows and your forearm area. Some people will tell you elbow strikes, and what they mean is they do a strike like that, but actually, if you have a look at it, it's not my elbow that's striking, it's my forearm that's striking. So between the forearm and the elbow, if you get hit with this is quite a hard bone, and the elbow is quite a hard bone as well. If you get hit with that, it's like getting hit with a baseball bat. So it's really, really effective, particularly if you haven't much power in your hands, and you feel there's not much power there. You can use your whole body and twist and put some power into hitting with an elbow strike. Okay? You can also, if the person is down, you can bring them down the way and hit down with an elbow in the back of the head. It's difficult to do anything else other than if he's grabbed from the back, there's an elbow strike into the stomach area, but those are the main ones for elbows. You can improvise and adapt, have a look at a punch bag, see what you can do, use your elbows, use your hands, slaps, everything else. Try and incorporate the whole lot. So we've covered hands, we've covered elbows. Moving on, down the body, knees. Knees are really good. They can go a good effective way of hitting in. If you're doing that, remember to tilt your hips backwards so you can get more power generated. If you keep your hips nice and steady and knee up, there's only so far you can reach. Whereas if you tilt back, you can reach a lot higher with your knees. And obviously this is good for the person's groin area. It's quite good even for a stomach or ribs. Any higher than that is an issue, if those you can go higher than that. But if you manage to get the person's head down, knee in the face. So there's lots of different ways that knees can be incorporated. Moving further down, you've got the feet. Most people will say kicks are really good, particularly if you're involved in martial arts and stuff. If you are involved in martial arts and you kick all the time, you might be able to do a really fast Bruce Lee style kick and knock someone down. But for the majority of us, that's pretty impossible. Trying to get that speed, and it's all about speed, because if you do the kick wrong and the attacker grabs your leg, they can break it, they can pull you back into a bush, they can do whatever. So it's very difficult with kicks, so you'd be aware of that one. If you are practicing, a good front kick can be quite good into the stomach. That can buy you a bit of time and a bit of space. That can work, but again, it has to be fast and it has to be powerful. The easiest one to remember is a kick to the shin. believe it or not, a kick to the shin has been taught to military, in fact British Special Forces, since World War II, as a way of stopping multiple attackers in a battlefield. So if you've got a lot of people coming towards you, and you're thinking, I can't take them all on, kick to the shin, and it'll bring them down. Your shin is full of little nerve endings. So if you've ever bumped your shin against the coffee table, for instance, you'll know that it's really, really sore, and it's painful. If you think of that multiplied by 20-fold, with someone getting a really hard kick into the shin area, it's going to cause them a lot of damage, and they're going to fall to the ground very quickly. So a shin is a really good one. That's for kicks. So we've covered feet, we've covered knees, we've covered elbows, and we've covered hands. There's only one other part of the body that we could probably use. That's the head. Headbutts are not really deemed as a first line of self-defense. There's certain court cases that have happened, and it's in the law that it's not a first line of self-defense. If someone grabs you, you stick the headbutt in, it's not deemed as a self-defense. But if the chips are down and there's nothing else for it, and someone's got you on the ground, for instance, they're about to sexually assault you or whatever, you can use the head if you can move. If they're behind you and they've grabbed you, you can push the head backwards and strike with the back of your head into the nose area. Obviously, if it's the front ways, you're using the front part of your forehead into the nose area as well, not the other way around. You don't want to be hitting with your nose into his forehead. It may have bad repercussions. And that's your bodily weapons. Obviously, we're just covering the basics here of what you can use from bodily weapons. If you go to martial arts classes or even online, you'll see there's a lot more things that you can do with your hands, your feet, your elbows, your knees, etc. And if you practice them, they can be really effective. Even if it's just a matter of putting a pillow against the wall and having a bash at that, if you can get into a gym or somewhere else and use a punch bag, even better. Next time, we're going to cover the T-zone. It's the most effective places to strike an attacker if they're attacking you. But for now, stay safe.